very good morning to our viewers. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Breakfast News. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines of the day. BJP forms three-member panel for consensus president choice. Committee to forge consensus with other parties ahead of the election on July 17th. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit US on 25th and 26th of June. On the invitation of President Donald Trump, H-1B visa, terrorism and economic growth on agenda for Modi-Trump talks. Terrorists lob grenade at CRPF camp in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district. 2 jawans injured. Army recovers arms from LOC in Poonch. Madhya Pradesh government appoints commission to inquire into Mandsaur violence. To submit report within 3 months. 5 farmers were killed during police firing on 6th of June. And US President Donald Trump's revised travel ban suffers another legal setback. A second US Court of Appeals refuses to revive the controversial ban. The BJP on Monday formed a 3-member team to build a greater consensus on the government's candidate for the presidential election. The election is scheduled to be held on July 17, 2017. The members of the committee are Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Arun Jaitley and Venkaiah Naidu.
BJP President Amit Shah on Monday formed a 3-member committee to pick the NDA's candidate for the presidential election. The committee includes Home Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu. The senior leaders will talk to NDA members and pick a name to represent the alliance in the election. The opposition parties, including the Congress, TMC, RJD and the Left Front, have also constituted a similar committee to hold talks on candidate.
As far as parties in opposition, we had our own meeting earlier and we have made our position clear. Whoever may be the candidate, candidate must be one who has strong commitment to the constitution and who is known for secular democratic credentials. We will see what the ruling party is going to do.
Till date, neither the BJP-led NDA nor the Congress-headed opposition have announced their presidential candidates. President Pranab Mukherjee's term ends on July 24, 2017. The presidential election will be held on July 17th. And the counting of votes will take place on July 20th. Political parties have until 28th June to file nominations. July 1st is the last date for the withdrawal of nominations. Currently, there are 13 vacancies in the Electoral College that will elect the president. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The ongoing indefinite shutdown called by the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha in Darjeeling turned violent with GJM supporters resorting to vandalism in government offices. The Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, which controls the Gorkha Land Territorial Administration, has called a shutdown of all state and GTA offices to press its demand for creation of a separate state. The Mamata Banerjee government, however, claimed normal attendance at offices. The transport, schools, hotels and colleges were exempted from the ban. Today will be the first day of the call for a banking sector shutdown, with the GJM asking banks to stay shut, barring Mondays and Thursdays. The GJM has also extended support to the 2-day trade union strike in tea gardens. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has, however, refused for any compromise. The face-off between the state government and the GJM triggered after Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee announced the introduction of Bengali language in schools in the hills. The GJM has called the government measure an encroachment on their distinct Nepali identity and culture.
इंडिफिनेट ऑफिसेस बंद, ऑफिसेस क्लोजर हुआ है. हम लोग ने फोर्सिबल बंद नहीं किया है. अभी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का इंटरवेंशन का हम लोग चाह रहा है तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंट करे.
This is a political game, and for personal benefit of few person, they are spoiling the whole life of the Darjeeling people. Mamata Banerjee recently taken a decision to set up a secretariat at the hills.
For more on this, we'll go across to our correspondent, Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, today seems to be a very tough day as far as the banking sectors and the overall situation in Darjeeling is concerned, because the banks have been asked to be shut by the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, and of course the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha has also joined the trade union strike. How the things are likely to shape up today?
Yeah, actually, trade union strike, as far as that is concerned, I have been informed by the many of the people who are working in tea gardens that tea gardens had remained closed yesterday, and almost 56,000 laborers are working in this tea garden. You know that Darjeeling tea is famous all over the world, and people from different parts of country come here to contribute in the tea gardening issues. They are also traders, they are also owners of tea gardens, and also laborers from different parts of the country. So in that way, you can understand that the situation is going from bad to worse. And as far as the situation here in Darjeeling is concerned, you know that today at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, a meeting has been called by Gorkha Janmukti Morcha of all the political parties and outfits dwelling there to have a meeting. And if this meeting comes and the dealing factor is becoming the Gorkhaland issue, because after a long time they have started demanding Gorkhaland issue, and then you know that Trinamool Congress and the whole chief minister is behaving in such a way that compromise is not possible. When Mamata Banerjee was here in Darjeeling, she told that I cannot talk under the shadow of bombs and rifles. But it was more than exaggeration, you know, that there was no bombs. In some sporadic violent activities happen, and it happens in India. You know that there are various places which some violent activities take place. But as a chief minister, if she refuses to compromise, if she refuses to talk, situation will be worsened. And this is the situation now, that there is no communication from the state government to either GTA or to the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha. The Trinamool Congress or the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is not even talking to any political party, either the CPI, either the CPM or the BJP, which are the major parties in the state. Any political party, I talked to many of them yesterday, and everyone is telling that we had been not communicated. So this is the situation. I think the situation is going worse today because, you know, that bank cannot close by themselves. Bank cannot close by the order of GTA or the Janmukti Morcha. But if people go there, there might be some sort of picketing and confrontation. They have just begun now. So till now there is nothing has happened. But I think that as the day passes on, you may see some sort of confrontation in Darjeeling and other hilly areas.
Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for joining us and sharing with us all those details. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit US on 25th and 26th June at the invitation of US President Donald Trump for a meeting at the White House. He is expected to hold official talks with the President Trump on June 26th. A number of issues, including terrorism and India's concerns over possible changes in H-1B visa rules, are expected to come up during the talks. The External Affairs Ministry said that their discussions will provide a new direction for deeper bilateral engagement on issues of mutual interest and consolidation of multidimensional strategic partnership between the two countries. This would be Modi's first trip to the US since Trump administration took office. The two leaders have spoken over phone at least 3 times. Meanwhile, in Washington, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said that Trump is looking forward to meet Modi and discuss ways to strengthen the bilateral ties to advance common priorities, fighting terrorism, promoting economic growth and reforms, and expanding security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. Apart from ways to enhance trade and business cooperation, Modi and Trump are also expected to discuss defense ties. In the latest series of developments from Madhya Pradesh, the state government has appointed a single-member commission to inquire into the police firing incident in Mandsaur, in which 5 farmers were killed on 6th of June. Retired High Court Judge J.K. Jain would chair the commission of inquiry. The commission headquarters will be at Indore and it will submit its report in 3 months. In a related development, the state government on Monday transferred 7 IAS officers, including Home Secretary Madhu Khare. Patidhar Kota stir leader Hardik Patel arrived in Udaipur on Monday. He is likely to reach Mandsaur today with large number of supporters to meet the agitating farmers. He arrived in Udaipur from Gujarat by road to attend a private function. Even as the Maharashtra government announced farm debt waiver on Monday, a farmer reeling under debt committed suicide in Akola district. In another incident, one farmer has committed suicide in Sehor region of MP. The farmer was reportedly under the debt of 6 lakh rupees. Meanwhile, farmers in Punjab on Monday staged protest across the state demanding farm loan waiver and implementation of Swaminathan Commission report for fixing minimum support price for produce. Activists of 7 farm outfits staged dharnas at all district headquarters. The protesters were joined by Shiromani Akali Dal and BJP workers, with SAD President Sukhbir Singh Badal leading demonstrations at Ludhiana.
मोदी सरकार आने के बाद बीज से लेकर बाजार तक किसानों के लिए जितनी सहायता हमने तेज की है, उन योजनाओं का क्रियान्वयन राज्य के माध्यम से हम कर रहे हैं। अब प्रधानमंत्री सिंचाई योजना क्या था, ये जो आज आंदोलन करवा रहे हैं या आग लगवा रहे हैं, इनसे पूछना होगा कि 100 मध्यम और बड़ी परियोजनाएं देश की पैसा के अभाव में 20-25 वर्ष तक लंबित रहा। इसी प्रधानमंत्री के आने के बाद कॉर्पस फंड बनाया गया है और 23 परियोजना पूरे होने के कगार पर है।
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Monday said that the states that are waiving the farm loans have to pay from their own resources. Centre will not help states in farm loan waiver. Jaitley's statement comes a day after the Maharashtra government waived farmers' loans. Uttar Pradesh was the first state this year to announce 36,359 crore rupees farm debt waiver for small and marginal farmers. Despite a bumper crop this Rabi season, farmers in many states are in distress because of sharp fall in prices in both domestic and global market, which is resulting into an agitation-like situation in the country.
States which want to go in for these kind of schemes will have to generate them from their own resources. Beyond that, as the central government, I have nothing more to say.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley also took stock of the finances of public sector banks. Bad loans or NPAs were also discussed with the heads of these banks. The RBI is in advanced state of preparing a list of bad loans where resolution is required under the insolvency and bankruptcy rule. Also, the government is actively working on consolidation of state-owned banks. The Finance Minister also said that there are challenges to credit growth and that speedy resolution for all pending NPA cases is the need of the hour.
I have already made the position concerned that states which want to go in for these kind of schemes will have to generate them from their own resources. Beyond that, as the central government, I have nothing more to say. Under the new ordinance which was issued, the RBI is at a fairly advanced stage of preparing a list of those debtors where a resolution is required through the IBC process. And you will shortly be hearing about it.
On to the latest from Jammu and Kashmir, where 2 Jawans were injured on Monday night when terrorists lobbed grenade on a CRPF camp in Pulwama district, prompting the security forces to cordon off the area. The incident took place in Tral in Kashmir's Pulwama district. The security forces cordoned off the area after the attack and a hunt was on to nab them. Earlier in the day, the security forces recovered a huge cache of arms and ammunition near the LOC in Kashmir's Poonch district, where terrorists from Pakistan had made several infiltration attempts. The soldiers successfully foiled the infiltration bids by Pakistan-backed terrorists in Poonch since the intervening night of Monday. The soldiers also recovered combat jackets, grenades, radio sets and eatables from the site. Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Monday said that the centre was committed to fast-tracking the development initiatives in the northeastern region, especially in the border areas. Addressing a meeting of the chief ministers of the 4 northeastern states to discuss the issue of Indo-Myanmar border, the Home Minister said that a committee will be set up for identification of gaps in basic facilities and infrastructure along the Indo-Myanmar border. He also stressed on better connectivity with Myanmar and said that the northeastern region was immensely rich in human and natural resources.
I constitute a committee headed by Special Secretary Internal Security to examine the present rules and regulations adopted by the border states for implementation of free movement regime and to give recommendations for uniform and effective implementation of free movement regime.
Retail inflation fell to a record low of 2.18% in May compared to 5.76% in the corresponding period last year. The fall was triggered by a sharp decline in the prices of vegetables and pulses. Consumer price-based inflation for April 2017 was 2.99%. Overall, food inflation was in negative territory at minus 1.05% during the month. Vegetable prices declined 13.44%, while pulses and products fell 19.5%. The index of industrial production also slipped to 3.1% in April against 6.5% in the same month last year. According to data released by the Central Statistic Office, manufacturing sector grew by 2.6% in April, while mining sector output grew 4.2%. Power generation rose 5.4% in April. In a bid to iron out differences over the crucial issue of the daily revision of the petrol and diesel prices, India's 3 state-run oil marketing companies will meet representatives of the Petroleum Dealers Association today. Petrol pump dealers bodies have raised concerns over the new system of dynamic pricing, which will come into effect beginning June 16th. During the meeting, the oil companies, including Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum Corporation and Hindustan Petroleum, will explain the benefits of daily price revision. At present, companies change prices fortnightly across the country, aligning them with the international rates and factoring in currency fluctuations. Motor fuel retailers have demanded companies automate all filling stations so that prices can be centrally changed without the intervention of the dealers. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari has said that the country needs a responsible press to hold power to account. Ansari cautioned that any onslaught of the freedom of the press jeopardizes the rights of the citizens. The Vice President made these remarks at the launch of the commemorative edition of the National Herald newspaper in Bengaluru.
खींचो न कमानों को न तलवार निकालो जब तोप मुकाबिल हो तो अखबार निकालो.
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Monday underscored the need for a free media, which he said is necessary in a free society. Ansari asserted that in today's age of post-truths and alternative facts, the primary role of the press as a watchdog assumes paramount importance in a democracy.
If press freedom is attacked, it will result in the jeopardizing of citizens' rights. When faced with unjust restrictions and the threat of attacks, self-censorship in the media can have the opposite effect, aiding the covering up of abuses and fostering frustration in marginalized communities.
The Vice President also noted that the constitutional framework provides for intervention by the state to ensure smooth working of the press, but such intervention should only be in public interest.
The state shall not impede the free flow of information that will go a long way in protecting and promoting the citizens' rights. The media, if it is to remain true to its calling, has to do likewise.
The Vice President's remarks came on the occasion to mark the launch of the commemorative edition of the National Herald to mark the 70th year of independence. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And with that, we'll slip into a very short break. International and sports news on the other side. Stay with us. The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand. Welcome back. Another US appeals court has ruled against President Donald Trump's temporary travel ban on people entering the United States from 6 Muslim-majority countries, largely upholding a lower court's decision. The court concluded that the president was required to prove his case for the ban, but failed to do so. White House, however, says it will appeal in country's Supreme Court.
And this is the protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. We all know what that means. Protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States.
US President Donald Trump had cited safety from terrorists as the reason behind a revised executive order that limits travel from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. However, there has been another setback to that revised travel ban. A US appeals court ruled against the order, saying it violated immigration legislation. The ruling from the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals is yet another stinging loss from a court that similarly refused to reinstate Trump's original executive order on travel in February.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
However, the dispute is not yet over, with the White House insisting that it will take the matter to the US Supreme Court. It is noteworthy that Trump had issued the revised executive order on 6th of March after the original one signed in January sparked confusion at airports and protests and was struck down by the US courts. The revised 90-day ban was to apply to people from Iran, Libya, Syria, Somalia, Sudan and Yemen. It also called for a 120-day ban on all refugees. The White House continues to insist that the ban is needed for national security purposes.
We're currently reviewing that opinion. I think we can all attest that these are very dangerous times, and we need every available tool at our disposal to prevent terrorists from entering the United States and committing acts of bloodshed and violence. We continue to be confident that the President's executive order to protect this country is fully lawful and ultimately will be upheld by the Supreme Court.
The latest court's order is a further legal setback for the president's efforts to get the ban he promised his supporters during the election campaign. The revised travel ban was earlier also blocked by federal judges in Hawaii and Maryland in separate rulings just hours before it was due to come into force. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's take a look at all the other international developments in World Wrap. A Russian court today sentenced Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny to 30 days in prison. Navalny has been punished for repeatedly violating the law on organizing public meetings. Navalny and over 1,500 of his supporters were arrested after anti-Kremlin demonstrations across the nation against government corruption. Navalny is a strong critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin. This is Navalny's second prison term this year. He served a 15-day jail term after the large protest in March. The UK Parliament will reassemble today for the first time after the recently concluded elections and will elect a speaker. Members of the Parliament will then take an oath ahead of the ceremonial state opening on June 19th. British Prime Minister Theresa May is also due to meet Arlene Foster, the leader of the Democratic Unionist Party, which has 10 seats, to finalise a deal to ensure support for a minority government major issues. U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions will appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee today. He will address matters brought up by former FBI Director James Comey in his testimony earlier this week to the same committee. Sessions had earlier planned to appear before the Senate and House Appropriations subcommittees, but the Deputy Attorney General will take his place. In sports news, Pakistan defeated Sri Lanka by 3 wickets in the final Group B game to reach the semi-finals of the ICC Champions Trophy. Choosing to field first, Pakistan produced a disciplined bowling performance as they picked up regular wickets to restrict Sri Lanka to 236 runs. Niroshan Dikwela top scored for the Lankans with 73 runs, while for Pakistan, Junaid Khan and Hassan Ali picked up 3 wickets each. In reply, Pakistani side started the chase well, with opener Fakhar Zaman racing to a 36-ball 50, but his departure led to batting collapse that saw them losing 6 wickets for just 63 runs. However, skipper Sarfaraz Ahmed cracked a gritty unbeaten 50 as Pakistan survived some tense moments before notching up a thrilling win. The result means that Pakistan will now face host England in the first semi-final on June 14th, while defending champions India will take on Bangladesh in the second semi-final on June 15th. A look at all the other sporting action in Sports Beat. India's Jitu Rai and Hina Sidhu combined to clinch the gold medal in the mixed team 10 meters air pistol event of the ISSF World Cup. In Azerbaijan, the pair defeated Russia 7-6 in the final. Both Jitu and Hina had narrowly missed out on making the final of the individual men's and women's 10 meters air pistol event, finishing 12th and 9th in their respective qualification rounds. Indian men's double pair of Satwik Sairaj and Chirag Shetty notched up 2 wins to enter the main draw of the Indonesian Open Super Series Premier Badminton. Satwik and Chirag saw off 2 Indonesian pair to make it to the opening round of the main draw. Meanwhile, top Indian shuttlers Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu will start their campaign at the women's singles on Tuesday. Rafael Nadal's magnificent run to a 10th French Open title moved him into second in the latest ATP World Rankings. The Spaniard's 2-place jump was at the expense of Novak Djokovic, whose French Open quarter-final exit saw the Serb drop from 2nd to 4th, his lowest ranking in 8 years. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. Keep watching Rajya Sabha television.